But let's give y'all just a kind of a quick walk around. I refuse to put a front plate on this vehicle. Yeah, you're supposed to have one. I don't give a fuck. If the police are gonna fuck with me, they're gonna fuck with me for no reason, you know. And none of, like, my tint obviously is illegal. None of this shit comes into play when you have a dickhead cop at your window. To be honest with you, they're gonna be on some other bullshit. Now, the car's got about maybe 400 horsepower. Does about $180. I just had to replace the drive shaft in it at, I think it was around 75,000 miles or something like that. I put a drive shaft shop, aluminum drive shaft in it. It was $899. But we're not going to talk about, you know, the details of the car right now. I'm going to tell you how I got the car. I got out of prison with $100. $100 to show for everything I had done in my lifetime in 2015. Really the end of 2014. And I had $100 to my name. And it didn't sink in that when I was in prison, but when I walked out them front doors with that $100, man, felt like the biggest loser in the motherfucking world, man. And I wasn't, but at that time I was, man. So before I went to prison, I had like 4 credit cards. I was making all my payments. I was building my credit up. When I went to prison, I left some money for my credit cards to be paid. So I was able to maintain my credit while being incarcerated, which was a huge factor. Because when I got out, I had that $100. So I was walking around the mall one day, and I was like Jared's Galleria or something, just walked by in the Mall of America, and there was a Rolex in there, and I was never going to buy a Rolex again in my lifetime. It just wasn't something that I felt like I needed or wanted, to be honest with you. She was like, well, let's run your credit and we'll see what kind of deal we can work. I had nothing better going on. It was just window shopping. Didn't have no fucking money. And she was like, well, she came back like 5 minutes later and she was like, you can walk out of here with that watch right now with no money down. I said, oh yeah? I might die tomorrow. Give me that watch. So I got the watch. I paid the watch off. Then I went and got the Challenger. When I went and got the Challenger, they didn't want my debt to income, DTI, debt to income, meaning if you make $2,000 in a month and you have $1,000 in bills, your DTI is 50%, meaning you have 50% of your income has to be paid in bills. So when your credit scores a certain way, because I had bought the Rolex and paid it off in payments, they just basically gave me the car without verifying much about my employment or anything. They just, with $2,500 down, I actually put $5,000 down to get a cheaper car payment, but with $2,500 down and about a 620 credit score and had about 5 or 6 trade lines and had paid the Rolex off, That was a key, was paying the Rolex off. And the reason it was good to get a luxury item like that is because these people can see what you spend your money on, what you financed. It makes you appear to be sometimes more wealthy than you are. So I went and got the Dodge Challenger. First time I seen one of them cars, I never thought I was really going to be able to just get one. And I can always achieve things with just a thought, because everything's fabrication. I had $100 when I was released in 2015. Okay? So by 2016, I had the Rolex and the Challenger. So, and yeah, I had a good job at the time too. So don't think that you can go take some dirty money and try and do this kind of shit. You got to have some clean money. You know, you got to have a clean stream of money. You don't have to, but you should. You know what I'm saying? I'm not recommending that you don't. But debt to income, that's a big thing when it comes to getting a loan. Over your credit score and all that shit, if your debt to income's fucked up, they're not going to want to give you nothing. So if your debt to income is 5,000 and your bills are 5,000, your debt to income, you owe everything out, and they can see that you owe everything out. The only time they're really going to want to verify your debt to income is when you're buying a house, for the most part. Credit cards, they don't even want to verify your income, let alone debt to income. They might ask you, but they go off of your answers. You know, I'm not trying to tell you guys to falsify loan documents or to falsify anything. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, a person might start off in the year making 100K, lose their job, and now they're only making a few thousand. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a liar or that you falsified anything, because your income changed. You know, sometimes shit's just out of your control. So I've been through that. I got shot in the middle of having 17 trade lines and all this shit got, you know, going on. I got gunned down in the street, man. So shit happens to you throughout building your credit, and things are going to happen. I know just by looking at your credit portfolio and the shit you got going on, your debt to income and shit like that, I know whether you're going to go bust or not. I know whether 30 days will collapse you or not. You can know by looking on, like, these creditors, they can look and see when you're in trouble, and they don't cut you off. Now, like I said, credit's like the streets in the way where you can check somebody's resume and be like, damn, who do they owe? Now, if you owe 17 people in the street $1,000 a piece, I'm not giving you nothing. Nobody's in the streets giving you nothing. In the credit world, they'll still give you stuff. You could be maxed with those 17 trade lines, and some dumb, greedy, high interest ass put you in the ground company will slide in and still give you a loan and put you further in debt. It's not until you start missing payments and you go into default on your accounts that people cut you off. That's when you're cut off. When your accounts start going into default, you're done. Now, missing a payment, that's one thing. Missing a bunch of payments, that can be as detrimental as default, in my opinion. You know, so let me make sure I covered everything. Yeah, and a lot of the reasons a lot of these places don't verify your income or verify your DTI is because then it'll go from them hooking you up with a credit card that day versus 30 days. So they don't want that red tape. They want to cut through the red tape and get you on that day. It's for your benefit, but it leaves them vulnerable to shit. Like, I feel like they're tripping. There's a lot of ways that people that give credit leave themselves vulnerable, where people in the streets would never leave themselves vulnerable like that. So remember, money's not real. It's not real. It's just an illusion. It's a fabrication. Everything starts with a thought. It's manifestation. Then you make it real. 5 years ago, I didn't have anything. $100. Being released from prison. after like 7 months. Short bid. Went in with like 1,500, came home with 100, man. Not saying that by the end of the first day being out of prison, I didn't have a couple of $1,000s in my pocket, but I'm just saying the truth is the first day I had $100 to show at like the age of, I'm bad with years, but I was around like 39. 39 is all I had to show. Pretty fucking embarrassing, man.